Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. It is Thursday morning and you know what? Game day is actually coming around a lot quicker than I thought it would. It's going so fast now. I mean, Spurs on Saturday, but before that we've got loads of transfer news to get into. And I'm going to be very honest. I'm going to be very blunt when I talk about this subject right now because it's something that has been frustrating me all day yesterday. Obviously the Greenwood news came out and that kind of overshadowed a lot of things, but Man United this week for me have just been really frustrating me. It looks like we're on track for a very good window, and then this week everything seems to have gone pear-shaped, and we've got news to update you on the Amrabat story, we've got news to update you on potential Greenwood return, we've got a little bit of news coming out about Gravenberch again, also Fulham interested in Eric Bailly, so we've got a lot to get through, but welcome everybody to the show. Also, if anybody knows anyone or has had their results today, I know it is A-level results day, I hope you've done very well with yourself and I hope you're proud of yourself. If not, you know, it's about what you do in life. It's about how hard you work. Results don't define you as a person. Make sure you work hard, and as long as you commit yourself and are passionate about something that you love and you go forward with that and you work hard, you're going to do very well. So I just want to say congrats to everyone on their results day as well. I know it was my brother's this morning. He did very well. I'm proud of him. So I just wanted to get that out there for everyone. But let's get on with the show. We want to talk about Sofyan Amrabat, and when I tell you, this Amrabat deal is very close to sending me over the edge. I feel like just hitting my head against a brick wall every day with the story that's coming out about Sofyan Amrabat. Honestly, I want this player so badly at Manchester United. I'm sure everybody else does, especially after seeing the Wolves' performance, because let's be honest, it was horrendous. And you look at the midfield and we need Amrabat. We're desperately in need of Amrabat. And if you look at the midfielder market, 29 million euros, Romano told us on this show that Amrabat's going to cost. 29 million euros. That's what he's going to cost. If Man United somehow throw this deal away, I'll be absolutely devastated. Like we'll look like absolute idiots, and it'll be so stupid in consideration of how much we need him. Like Casemiro is a great player, and obviously he starts for Manchester United, but you need more than that in terms of defensive reassurance. Like, against Spurs, ideally, you'd want to be going into that game, Spurs away, with both Amrabat and Casemiro playing for defensive reassurance, but we don't have that. Not only defensive reassurance, just somebody who can actually see passes through the lines and actually looks after the ball. He was one of the best players in the World Cup, and he's excellent at looking after the ball, which is what our midfield lacks. But anyway, I want to bring you a little bit of news coming in about this, and this is what the thumb is, and the title, as you can see, bid now for Amrabat, and that's exactly what we need to do. Because Fabrizio Romano has come out this morning and said that Manchester United need to submit a bid for Sofyan Amrabat now. He has been waiting this entire time for Manchester United. Liverpool have also called his agency to be informed on the situation. He has been waiting and waiting, but Manchester United need to submit a bid for Amrabat. And this is the part where it becomes frustrating, because everybody knows that Liverpool has 110 million to spend in this market. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, they've now gone for this Endo kid. Well, he's not a kid, he's 30 years old. They've gone for this player, Endo, Japanese player who played for, was it Stuttgart he plays for? He plays for Stuttgart, yeah, they've gone for him. And I think that transfer in total cost them around 19 million euros. They've let the whole world know they have 110 million to spend because they had a deal agreed for Caicedo for that. So I'm very highly doubt that this is Liverpool, you know, they've got their player now and they're just going to switch off. I think they are going to push for other players. And Amrabat has been waiting for Manchester United since June. And he's still not sure if this move is going to go through. Obviously, Man United probably have reassured him and told him to be patient. We're going to get onto that in a second. But how long do you be patient for? Because it's coming out from other sources, Alfredo Padula, that this will only happen if either Donny van der Beek or Scott McTominay leave the club. At the moment, none of them look likely. We hope Donny's going to leave. We hope he's going to get his deal, but nothing looks likely. Nothing looks close. So how long do you keep waiting for? If Liverpool come now and they say, you know, we're going to offer you this amount of money, you've got a spot in the starting 11 because they're desperately in need of a six. He would be perfect for them. And you can come right now and start playing Premier League football. It gets to a certain point where he might think, is this Man United move ever going to happen? And if we lose out on him, if we lose out on Amrabat, who we desperately need, as well as gifting, basically, Liverpool a number 6 after they've been rejected, a 29 million euro number 6, that would be absolutely brilliant in that team. I will absolutely lose my head. I can't even tell you. I'm hoping it's not going to get to that. But knowing Man United, you assume the worst, don't you? You assume the worst because we've seen it happen before. Axel Ellen says, how do we know the price tag hasn't gone up? If you're talking about Amrabat here, is because we had Romano on literally on Monday, and he said it was 29 million euros that he can be going for. That's why. Let's see what anyone else is saying. Devil58 Reds should have sold McTominay for 30 mil. He's not worth 40. Exactly, and this is why I won't hear any excuses whatsoever. I will not hear any excuses in the terms of why is Amrabat, why Amrabat's not here, because we keep getting told we need sales for this to happen. We need to get rid of another player. Another player needs to go. Don't tell me about sales and don't use that as an excuse when we have had £60 million on the table for Harry Maguire and Scott McTominay. We had £30 million offer for Scott McTominay. Just that alone, Amrabat is a better player than Scott McTominay. 29 million euros Amrabat's going to cost. You could have made profit on that deal. You chose not to because you wanted more money for him. I think, honestly, I've heard people say, yeah, Scott is worth around 40 to 45 million. Is he? I think 30 to 35 is a very good price, if I'm going to be honest. And the fact we rejected that, for me, is very questionable. And I'm looking at it thinking, why? Because he's not going to get that many minutes at United this season. And are you telling me next season he's still going to be worth 30 million? If he is, then fair enough. But his price is either going to decrease. His price is going to decrease. Or there's going to be a massive turn in events where he starts playing every game, which I don't think is going to happen. So that's inexcusable because you could have had Amrabat in already, which is an upgrade of a player. He brings the physicality. He's better on the ball. He's actually, skillful and hones in on his position. And I'm not saying Scott McTominay isn't skillful. I'm just saying he's not an out-and-out CDM. He's not an expert in that position, whereas Amrabat is, which is exactly what we need. And also Harry Maguire, 30 million a deal agreed for. 30 million. And we didn't push that through out of respect to Maguire. Again, for me, where is the ruthlessness on this? I've said before, look at Pep Guardiola. Laporte has just gone. He's going to Saudi Arabia. He's brought Gvardiol in, which is an upgrade. And by the way, Laporte is very, very good, but he's upgraded. He's not said, we'll let him hang around out of respect. And to be fair, I think Laporte wants to actually go and play football, which is, respect to him for that. But these are deals that would have happened if we had competency running the club. It should have happened. And I actually thought Man United were going to go in a different direction this summer. And I thought, there was actually a chance we were going to sell Maguire and McTominay and Van der Beek and actually have a clear out and bring players in that, Todibo or Pavard. I wasn't Pavard's biggest fan. I would have much rather had him in instead of Maguire. And I thought we were going to get, Amrabat in and have this in the window. This window started off, for me, I thought it was looking like it was going very well. If we failed to get Amrabat on the back of not being able to shift players, I'll be absolutely gutted, and I'll think, and there'll be no excuse for it, in my opinion. Sean Turner, this club is a joke. Our rivals bidding 100 million plus one player, and that's our total budget. If this is our business, no chance we get top four. I still think we get top four, but it could be better. This is what I mean. It should be better. And again, Erik ten Hag is like, I need another striker. Money could have been pulled together for that. It's frustrating. Levi the Lawn has a super chat in there. Thank you very much for that. But I want to get through some of the chats in here as well. Not some of the chats, some of the more of the quotes that are coming out, and we'll go through the chats as well. Make sure you get your opinions in. Let's get interactive, guys, and let's talk. Let's actually start running a poll as well. We'll start running a poll while I go through the news. Run a poll with, do you think Manchester United will sign Amrabat? It's as simple as that. I know we've got in the chat, will United bid for Amrabat before Monday? We hope so, but do you actually think he will end up signing for United? Because, like I said, I've always been 99% sure that this is going to happen, but trust United to be able to screw something like this up. It's not going to surprise me, and if it does, I'll be furious, because we'll just look like fools in the transfer market. We really will. Anyway, so on the back of Romano's, we need to submit a bid for Amrabat now. Alfredo Padula, who was obviously great on the Anana and Højlund deals, who's had a very good transfer window, put out there that Amrabat is always waiting for Manchester United's offer. Amid reports about interest from Liverpool, United have asked him to be patient. Klopp likes Amrabat, but Amrabat wants to join United, who he has an agreement with. This will only change his mind will only change if United give up on him. So Amrabat wants to join United, even though Klopp likes him, and he has an agreement with them since June. His mind will only change if United actually give up on him. Again, everything that's coming from Amrabat's side, I love. He's clearly pushing to join United. He's rejected Liverpool once. He's probably going to have to do it again because they are going to go for him, obviously. He's exactly what they need, and he's a brilliant player in that position. So obviously they're going to go for him again, and he's going to have to reject them if he wants to push for Man United. But the problem you have if you're Amrabat here is you're thinking, you know how flaky Man United can be in the transfer window as it is. You want to work with Ten Hag, you know Ten Hag, so you've got that trust. You have an agreement, you're happy with the personal terms, it's been in place since June. You are waiting to join Manchester United. You want to start playing Premier League football. But you're seeing stuff come out, and you're not seeing that there's a move potentially on the cards for McTominay or Donny van de Beek because nothing seems to be pushing through. It's coming out that we have to sell one of them players in order for him to come. Klopp is literally waiting for a number 6 in his midfield. He needs one. He's going to come in and start straight away and be a very key player. Your mind does start to wander, and his mind will be wondering, maybe I should go with Liverpool and not risk it, because if it gets to the final weeks of the transfer window in the final week and Man United still haven't come in for you, and Liverpool are offering you this right now to come in, you start to think, well, am I actually going to get a Premier League move? I might as well move to the Premier League if I'm not going to end up getting United. And I want to get my move. I don't want to be at Fiorentina next year. I want to play in the Premier League. He's 27. He wants to go. He wants Man United, but it's Man United that is letting this down by not pushing it through quicker. And this is our fault. It's purely down to us because we've not had outgoings sorted from the beginning. Man United started the outgoings towards the end of July. We should have sorted the outgoings at the beginning of June. The transfer window opened at the beginning of June. Before the transfer window even opened, Man United should have been aware of who's going this summer and who's staying. And the players should have been told to get their agents on the phone and sort themselves moves. And they should have enabled their moves to happen. Again, we've gone about it in a slow-paced way, which is hindering now a transfer that could be really, well, it will be really, really, really crucial for us. And Ten Hag obviously wants him. Let's see what you guys are saying. Do you think we'll sign Amrabat? I'm going to still say yes on this one. 53% yes, 47% no. I can tell people are getting worried. I am as well. We're all in the same boat on this one. I'm getting worried too. Jake Adams says, if we lose Amrabat, I blame the board, but Ten Hag as well, as he wants to sign Mount first and make our midfield more disjointed. Mount at best a sub player. I get where you're coming from on that. Personally, for me, I think the reason we went for Mount first is because he had a lot of interest. Liverpool were after him. Chelsea were trying to keep him. Bayern were in the race. Arsenal wanted him as well. A lot of clubs wanted Mount. So I think we needed to move on it quick to ensure we got him. And I still think he's going to be a good signing for us. But if we did have other priorities that we probably should have put in place first, I can agree on that one. Levi Delon says Paqueta to City should hopefully bring West Ham back to the table from McTominay, and maybe 35 mil could get it done, and then Amrabat will come. Levi, I like the way you think, but I don't want to rely on other teams' good transfer business for us. We can talk about it, and I was going to talk about it, but isn't it sad that we have to rely on we have to rely on Man City strengthening their team by getting Paqueta? It's some shred of hope of West Ham coming back from McTominay. And you know what? We've probably annoyed West Ham. We've said no to McTominay, which we have every right to do. Don't get me wrong. We have every right to do. But then the bid, initially 20 mil for Maguire, which was too low. Fair play to Man United for getting up to 30. 30 million was definitely a fair price for 30-year-old Maguire. Let's be honest. A very fair price. David Moyes says in his press conference, we've had a deal agreed, everything thinks it's happening, and now it's broken down. Like, West Ham probably don't want to come back in and deal with us, to be honest with you. Obviously, if they want McTominay, they're going to have to do that, and I pray that if Paqueta does go, they do come back from McTominay and offer us a bit of money, but it's one of them. Why are we relying on City to strengthen in order for our outgoings? It shouldn't be happening. But let's move on with a little bit more news. Obviously, Di Marzio for Sky Sports Italy last night said Liverpool have held contact with Amrabat, who has recently appointed new agents. Liverpool are working on it with intermediaries. This is one that, again, worries me because Apparently, Klopp was trying to go for Amrabat last year, which everybody heard the news, and we thought that was going to happen. And there was something with the agents that wasn't right between, I think it was the agents and Klopp. Something happened, and it didn't really. I can't remember exactly what it was, but we got told there was some sort of disagreement between Klopp and the agents. Amrabat's appointed new agents, probably appointed new agents because he wants a move and he wants to push it through, which is the most logical solution and the most logical, reason that he's done that. But still, new agents, Liverpool working on it with intermediaries, it just doesn't sound good. And there's no smoke without fire. It just doesn't sound good, and I feel like it's something that could escalate. Right now, Man United bid for Amrabat. We get Amrabat because his first choice is Man United. He wants to come to us. It's not about him, I'm going to leave Man United to go for Liverpool. He wants to come to Man United. The problem is Man United being absolutely slow, just slow, very, very slow on this, and we should be pushing these deals through. And I know what people say, we have players on high wages that haven't been great, so we can't shift them. Look at Chelsea. They have players on high wages that ended up coming 12th last year, and some of them were horrendous. Clubs out there would buy Donny van der Beek. Clubs out there would buy Dean Henderson. Clubs out there would buy Maguire and McTominay. We've seen it from West Ham. We slow this down. There is no excuse for keeping players that aren't going to have any really much significance in the squad moving forward throughout the years, when you could be getting players in that Ten Hag actually wants to use and wants to play in the future. I mean, it's not just Maguire and McTominay I'm blaming. It's the fact, Brandon Williams, why is he still at the club if he's not going to get used? And he'll probably want to play first-team football himself. Why is he still here? Why has he not been sold? Eric Bailly, why is he still here? Why has he not been sold? There's loads of names I could list off. Vinac says, Maguire is greedy. True. Man United is only ruthless with non-English players. True. Why weren't we ruthless with Maguire and McTominay? Glazers out. Well, it's like Fred as well. I think we had better offers on the table for Fred from the likes of Saudi and maybe Fulham even as well, but he wanted to go to Turkey, it seemed like. And it seemed like we kind of allowed that from him. I might be wrong, but that's how it came across. Savage says, since when did we need to sell players to spend 30 million? Something is definitely wrong. I know we are tight on financial fair play, to be honest with you, right now. DK says, does United care about supporter mental health? Sale process nowhere, Greenwood situation, and getting bent over by rivals regarding sales. Sick in the stomach, my head is spinning. DK, honestly, I think we all share what you're feeling right now. This week, I was really excited about United going into the new season. So excited. I was very happy with the signing so far. It seemed like we were actually going to get Outgoings done. Maguire was leaving. We had bids coming in from McTominay. Looked like Van der Beek was going to go. I was so happy going into the season. We had a terrible result not a terrible result. It was a very good result actually, but we had a terrible performance against Wolves that kind of put a dampener on things. It then comes out that, it looks like Mason Greenwood is going to be coming back, and whatever opinion you have on that, there's going to be people that feel uncomfortable with it and feel let down by the club. And again, now we're getting told, we might miss out on a €29 million midfielder that was one of the stars of the World Cup that Ten Hag desperately wants to our biggest rivals, Liverpool, that are desperately in need of that position. It is a stomach turner. It really, really is a stomach turner. And on top of all of this, United fans have been led on and dragged on by this sale for nearly a year. It's just, show some respect for your fans. It's so frustrating. Anyway, and I am annoyed this morning. I really am, because I just love Man United so much, but I feel like we're just getting constantly, put down by the people that are running this club. I really do, and being limited as well. God knows how Erik ten Hag must be feeling, seriously. But that's where we're at on the Amrabat story right now. Romano's saying we have to bid now. That's significant because it shows, Liverpool are in touch with his agency, his new agents, by the way, that he's appointed to get himself a move. That's worrying. And Amrabat's waiting for Man United, but he's growing impatient, which is, I would not blame him. I wouldn't blame him if he turned around and took the Liverpool move over Man United. And that's horrible to say as a Man United fan, but I wouldn't blame him at this point, because it's not as if he's a Man United fan. But he wants to join United. He wants to work with Erik ten Hag because he thinks it's a better option. But United are the ones messing him about. Anyway, that's the story right now. It's frustrating. Lots of the poll saying. The poll is got over 3,000 votes, and 53% think yes, Amrabat will sign, and 47% say no. And we've got over 7,500 watching in the room, so thank you for that on a Thursday morning. Make sure you hit a like on the video, get your comments in. It's all about interaction. We're going to rant together on this one, and make sure you vote as well on the polls that we put up. Seen someone say this is the Gakpo situation again. Exactly. Ten Hag wanted Gakpo and Liverpool just went in and got it done. But want to move on to something else. I just want to bring this up. The next thing I want to bring up is it's coming from Neil Custis at The Sun that Mason Greenwood is expected to be reinstated into the Manchester United squad as early as next week. This is coming from The Sun. The Sun seem to have said a lot on Mason Greenwood this summer, and it does seem like it's come from the side of Mason Greenwood, as in, you know, the side of Mason Greenwood that probably wants to come back to Manchester United. That's how it feels reading the reports from The Sun. That's how it's come across. But Mason Greenwood is expected to be reinstated into Man United's squad as early as next week. Obviously, this is a very sensitive topic. I spoke about this in depth yesterday when the news broke, the Man United statement broke and the Athletic article broke. If you want to know my in-depth, full opinion on that, you can watch that video from yesterday, because that's where I spoke about it and spoke about how people might feel on this subject. Today, this morning, if you want to know that, just go and watch that show after this. Or if you've not seen it already, you might have seen it already. But right now, I'm just going to speak about the fact that Mason Greenwood is probably going to be coming back, and The Sun is saying it could be as early as next week. I don't think it's going to be as early as next week. I very much doubt it would be. And it would cause absolute havoc if it did happen. And I don't want it to happen not only because of my feelings on it, but just because of the havoc that it's going to cause surrounding the Man United squad, the media, the position it's going to put supporters in. I just don't want it to happen for that reason, as well as other reasons that I've spoke about yesterday. But that's what's coming out right now. And just to follow up on this news, I wanted to actually bring in a little thread on Twitter that Adam Crafton, who wrote the Athletic article, a brilliant in-depth article yesterday, very good reporting piece on Mason Greenwood potentially coming back to Man United, and Richard Arnold telling members that he was expected to come back this season, and the announcement was initially planned for August the 4th, but it got delayed. And he put out a little thread on Man United and Greenwood after today's events, which may help people understand what happened. This is a bit industry, but hopefully people appreciate the transparency. I wanted to bring it up on the show because I found it very, very interesting. I feel like not many people have seen this thread, and I think you should know, because it talks about basically how Man United have handled this, and it doesn't put Man United in the best light in terms of handling this process. So he says, "This morning, I approached Manchester United with a series of facts relating to their internal process." This was yesterday when he was about to publish the article. "With their internal process on Mason Greenwood, which included the detail, undisputed by the club, that Chief Exec Arnold had told his executive team that the club was planning to bring Greenwood back. As journalists, we provide the right of reply to anyone we approach with a time of period, deadline in which they can respond. This is in the interest of balance and accuracy, and we did that today with Manchester United. The usual protocol is that the responder would respond to the journalist first and foremost, so any background or comment can be inserted into the story to ensure balance and accuracy. On this occasion, we were asked to extend our deadline so the club could gather its response. Then, simultaneously, around 3:45, the club issued a statement on its website, an all-staff email and press statement to journalists who cover the club, and sent it to us at the same time. As such, the only reasonable conclusion is that today's Man United statement, which was yesterday's, was unplanned and cobbled together as the club deliberated on how to respond to our story. Nobody plans to deliver a public statement at 3:45 on a Wednesday afternoon." Clearly quite annoying personally, because it felt like an attempt to deflect from and bury our reporting, where we acted in entirely good faith with the club. But way more importantly, it was illustrative of United attempting to seize back the narrative on an increasingly strained process. Personal reading is that United are unsettled and panicking that aspects of their choreographed plan made public, and now they are witnessing a significant social backlash. I 100% stand by our reporting that Arnold told his exec team in first week of August of plans for Greenwood to return Of course, having abandoned their proposed date of August 4th, nothing has been announced, which gives the club a plausible deniability on a final decision. After all, human beings can change their mind, and the likely reason for the delay was wanting to brief their women's team, who is still at the World Cup. Very, 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 very interesting thread, to say the least. That was coming out last night. I only saw it this morning from Adam Crafton. Brilliant reporting from Adam on that. And I have to say, very interesting what he says about how Man United wanted to take back the narrative and they were panicking at the backlash made by their choreographed plan made public. Doesn't sound good, does it? What you should be worrying about first and foremost is what your fans think about this, how your players feel about this, what example this sets to the rest of the world, not how it affects your choreographed plan on how to reveal it. But I spoke about this situation yesterday. I don't want to go over old ground, and again, you can see that video yesterday that I put out there, but I'm really I have to say, I'm really disappointed with how Man United has handled all of this. I really do, and I just think it's disrespectful to the fans. It's disrespectful to the fans. It's disrespectful to fans of Manchester United that feel uncomfortable with this. And, you know, I understand that an investigation process has happened, but it shouldn't have been handled in this way, where you choreographed a time for him to come back. You panic and pull the plug when people start abusing the women's team because you've not had chance to. Because it comes out publicly that you've not had chance to talk to them about this, which is no fault of their own. It just doesn't sit right with me. But anyway, this is where we're at on this. And I wanted to move past that and just bring you the news on that. Bring it forward, because that's what's coming out. A says, we're all going to do an awful thing in our lives, and let's just hope people aren't as unforgiving and judgmental as we are to Mason Greenwood. Karma. We can all do things, but we don't know it for a fact what's happened, and this is what you have to make clear. We don't know anything for a fact. We only have seen a very small slice. But from what's out there, not everyone in this world, and I would very much hope barely anybody in this world, or I would hope nobody in this world, would do stuff like that. There's a difference between, you know, doing something that you regret or doing something to that extent. So, and do you know what? You can still be, you can be rehabilitated and not play for Manchester United, is what I would say on that. But yeah, I don't want to go over what I said yesterday. Christopher Cardova, when should we start scrutinising Erik ten Hag? Everyone has a right to scrutinise whenever they want to scrutinise, but personally I will not be scrutinising Erik ten Hag because I think he's the best manager that's been at United since Sir Alex, and I'm excited to see where he's going to take Man United this season. Danesh Kumar says, hi Beth, I think Liverpool will get Amrabat with us keeping Donny and McTominay, which is why I feel like we won't do well as last season. I'm predicting 4th. Can I see anything else here? I can't see anything right now on this subject. But yeah, wanted to bring the Mason Greenwood news to you and read that thread as I thought it was very interesting. Next, I want to talk about what's coming out from the Muppeteers, and it is very interesting, and I want to say I completely understand Erik ten Hag on this point, and it is that Erik ten Hag is demanding another forward signing. He wants 2 players brought in before the end of the transfer window, and what a shock that Erik ten Hag wants another striker and he wants a forward player. The sky's blue. You know, the grass is green. Martial's going to get injured probably within the next month. All of these things are a certainty. Of course he's going to want another forward player. If you've watched Man United within the last year, you would understand how much in desperation we need a forward player, another one. Højlund is obviously currently injured, but he's due back very soon. Not next game, but potentially maybe after that. We're thinking maybe Forest or Arsenal. That's what, you know, he's come out from the club. But apart from that, what striker options do we have? We have Martial, who's constantly injured. We know he's fit at the moment, and Martial I expect to be playing in that Spurs game. I really do. He played behind closed doors against Everton. I don't think he'll start in the Spurs game, but you expect him to get some minutes. But God knows how long that could last. He could come on against Spurs and get injured again. That's the way Martial's been going. So you can't rely on him. And apart from that, you've got Rashford, who isn't a striker. And the problem with playing Rashford up front is you don't get his best attributes, which you get from when he's on the left wing. And, you know, Rashford's a very good player for us when he's playing on the left wing. Not every game, he does lack some consistency, but he's been very good for us when playing on the left. Not only do you miss that when he's playing up front, but he's most of the time he's non-existent. And I think Marcus Rashford is a very good player, and I like him a lot. He's just not a centre forward. And I guarantee he's frustrated playing there as well, because he won't be able to be having his best game. And he's said himself in interviews with Gary Neville, his favourite position is playing off the left, and that's where he feels the best, he can do his best work. And then the option you've got after that is Jadon Sancho, false nine, which I don't see working in the Prem. I just don't see it happening. I wouldn't mind going with it against Spurs because that's how desperate we are. But I don't think it can work long term. So of course he's going to want another striker, because anything happens to Højlund, and we're in this situation again where we've literally not got a recognised striker playing for Manchester United, a top level club. It's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. Where we've just bought Højlund from, I think they had like 3 strikers that were all very good and worthy of starting. We literally don't have we have one in Højlund. Martial is constantly injured, so I don't count him. We have one in Højlund, a recognised striker who's 20 years old. Apart from that, we don't have anything. It is embarrassing, and I feel sorry for Erik ten Hag who has to deal with it, because we should have invested heavier on this position this summer. And I can understand why he's demanding another signing. I'm not saying we have to go out there and sign Harry Kane. That's what we should have done, but I'm not saying we have to do that. I'm not saying we have to go and sign Victor Osimhen, something else we could have looked at doing. But I expect us to sign someone else at least who's competent in that position. And you can understand why Ten Hag's doing it. Paul D says, hi Beth, we should be looking at signing Gravenberch on loan, and Richard Arnold should do a press conference and not leave all the questions to Ten Hag. Glazers out. Interesting point there, Paul. And Anthony Murray says, scrutinise Erik ten Hag, he's polished a turd, miracle man. Yeah, you can look at what Ten Hag did with the likes of Weghorst up front. I'm not just solely bringing Weghorst into this, but with, you know, Eriksen injured and this, we literally didn't have a recognised striker last year for the second half of the season. We managed to come third, win a trophy, and get to the FA Cup final. We did well. John G says, why did you avoid my super chat? Answer it. I've not seen a super chat from you, John. Let me have a look. Let me have a look for it. I can't. Oh, here it is. Beth, you talk about morals, but hailed Ronaldo return after he paid off his case. Look in the mirror. First of all, nobody knows what happened with the Ronaldo case. We don't know what happened with it. With Mason Greenwood, there's literally clear evidence in the public domain. And like I said, it's only a small piece of evidence. But what's out now, it hasn't been falsified. If that gets falsified in the future and it's proved that that is false, and, you know, the parties involved say that is false, then people can look and they can think about changing their decision. But from what's out there right now, that is my opinion on the situation. Let's have a look at this. I lost my train of thought there from John. And David Kennedy says, disrespectful towards the women's team and female fans. And Robert McCormack, Beth, who's your top 4 this year? My top 4 is City, unfortunately. Man United, call me delusional. I'm living for the hope of it all, guys. City, Man United, Arsenal, and I was going to go with Liverpool, but I think it could be Chelsea. I'll go with Liverpool, but I think Chelsea could. I think that 4th spot is either going to be Liverpool or Chelsea. Depends if Liverpool get a 6, to be honest with you, and they get a CDM and they get that midfielder. But that's what I'm going with right now. But then again, you know, Newcastle look great, and I think they could actually maybe do something for us against City this weekend. So, you know, there's a lot of positions up for grabs. It's hard to call. Alan McAllister, a member for 12 months. Do you think England will win the World Cup? I do think England women's will win the World Cup, and we will actually be doing a watch-along for it on That's Football on Sunday. I have a couple of special guests as well. I will be doing it, and I have Ricky will be in the house. We'll have somebody else as well, special guest. So I'm excited. I've been wanting to do watch-alongs for the Women's World Cup. I've been following it all the way, and it's amazing what that team are doing for women's football in this country and across the world. So I'm very excited, and I hope they bring it home. I really do. I've been loving it. So On Man United again, so we're talking about a forward player. As I was speaking about Martial there, it's obvious that Ten Hag obviously wants to bring somebody in. Again, we've not been able to shift Martial. That's understandable. I get why we've not been able to shift Martial, because he's on 250 grand a week and he's injured. Nobody's going to want to go near it. It's just the truth. And that's not me being disrespectful to Martial. I actually think Martial as a player is I'll put it out there. Martial is a player just purely based on talent. I think he's our best forward player. And I think he's incredibly talented, and I think he's a great player. And as soon as whenever he is fit, he immediately gets into that team because of how good he is. But the problem is he isn't fit, and obviously performance does kind of drop when you're not being able to be consistent for long enough. But with Martial now, he played against Everton. You've seen the training videos. It looks like he's at full fitness. If he doesn't play against Spurs, I start asking questions, why? Why is he not? Because we're desperately in need of him right now, and he's fit. So he should be, he could even be starting if his fitness is up, because he played against Everton. I think he'll come off the bench, and I think that's the best way to go about it. But I want to be seeing him playing. But in regards to getting another forward, Erik ten Hag can demand all he wants, but we've seen managers demand in the past and they've not got anywhere. Mourinho spoke about it, Van Gaal spoke about it. We'll have to wait and see. I respect Ten Hag for wanting it. It's obvious he'd want another forward player, but it's interesting to see who we'll go for. What is something to bring up and get your discussions in about this? João Felix, there's rumours out there he's trying to figure out a way to terminate his contract or potentially buy himself out of his contract, which, nothing but respect for that. He wants to play football. He doesn't want his career to be at a standstill. He doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia, but no one's coming in for him because of the money that Atletico Madrid are demanding. I think Atletico Madrid are being really unfair on this subject. They're trying to get this ridiculous amount of money for João Felix, which they're not going to get. But at the same time, they're not going to play João Felix, and he doesn't want to be there. So you'd think they'd come to some sort of agreement, but João Felix is looking at a way to terminate his own contract or potentially pay himself out just so he can be on a free transfer, so he can actually go to a club there he's wanted, and he's going to be able to play, and he's going to still be able to stay in Europe. So respect if João Felix does end up doing that. But if João Felix comes on the cards on a free, it's definitely not a player I'd say no to. I think he's a brilliant player. The only reason I've said we don't need to go for him this summer is because the priorities that we've had, and he's not like an out-and-out striker. But if he's available on a free, I think we have to go there because he adds so much depth to the forwards line, and he can play that position if needs be. And he does knock on the door to that starting 11, absolutely, especially if you watch the Wolves game. He's got so many skills, and I think he's got a lot of potential as well. So it's an interesting one to think about. David Kennedy says, call Maguire's bluff and send him on gardening leave. The club doesn't have the ball to do that. Jayesh Maneklai says, I'd like to be optimistic, but I must be honest, with the current squad we have, I think we are going to struggle this season. Understandable why you think that. I still think we do very well. Look at last season. You know, I know the result wasn't great against Wolves, but we predominantly every year struggle against Wolves. It's usually a 0-0, a 1-0 to Wolves. It's been a lot in the past, and a 1-0 to United. We usually struggle against Wolves. Plus, at the start of last season, we had 2 horrendous results, and then we ended up getting 3rd. So I don't write off the season yet. Mahit Gupta, and I do think there is good players. There's good players there, and Ten Hag's working. I think we've made good signings. I think everything's just getting on top of us now because we thought these things were going to shift and they were going to happen, and loads of things are coming at once, and it just feels like a big weight down on us. Mahit Gupta says, hey Beth, in the case of Mason Greenwood is available, who would be our top 3 regular starters for the Premier League? My top 3 at Manchester United of regular starters in the front 3 would be, I've not seen Højlund yet, so I don't know. But either Højlund or Martial up front, they're the only 2 that can play up front. If Martial was fit, I would be happy to play Martial there. But either Højlund or Martial up front, I'd go with Højlund because, you know, he's our new player. And you're going to hope he's going to be an improvement. I would have Rashford on the left, and I would say Anthony on the right, but I've not been impressed with Anthony recently. I've really not. But that's what I'd go with as my front 3 right now. Honestly, I'm very impressed with Pellistri. I think he has a chance to be able to work himself in. Sancho, again, looked good when he came off the bench, but we've just not seen enough from him. Ahmad's obviously injured and, you know, not done enough to get in the first team yet. But yeah, that would probably be my front 3, Højlund, Rashford and Anthony. But Anthony needs to step it up because I've always been. I'm an advocate of Anthony. I think he's a good player. I don't like all the criticism he receives, and I actually think there's so much potential there, but decision making needs to improve. The fuzzy one, member for 7 months. Hi Beth, do you like how they are stopping time wasting, giving out a lot of yellow cards, or do you think they're a bit too card happy? To be honest with you, I kind of get where Varane comes from in the sense of footballers play enough football as it is. This is just going to add more onto it. I would like the idea for time wasting if we had better organisation of breaks for football players, and you know, a schedule of a season was actually, you know, attainable for clubs to do. I like the idea of it. I just don't know if it's being executed in the correct fashion, but I like the idea of it because time wasting is a problem. Like, remember when Atletico Madrid played us in the Champions League under Rangnick? It was just ridiculous. I think the ball was in play for like 45 minutes out of 90, something stupid like that. Don't quote me on that, but I get why they're doing it. And then with yellow cards, I get why refs have protect themselves, especially in regards to the managers, like with the likes of the Arteta and Klopp's behaviour in the past, and they're not the only ones. Like, it has gone too far on the sidelines, but what you don't want to stop is passion and expression in the game. Like, football players should be able to have a relationship with the ref and ask questions. If they disagree with the decision, they should be able to ask why. I think you should be able to ask why is that not a yellow card for the other player. You're getting booked for that now. You know, as a player, I think you should be able to ask that. Why are you not allowed to ask the question? So there's a very thin line it could go across, to be honest with you. And I think it's maybe gone a bit too far because you want passion in the game and you want expression. You want players to be able to express themselves, but at the same time, you don't want dissent and you don't want the refs to be getting any sort of, you know, unnecessary abuse or anything like that. So it's a thin line to cross, to be honest with you. Have I missed anything else from here? Let me have a little look on here. What we've got, I think I've seen all the super chats now, so thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for getting them in. Mahad, as if, says João Felix's contract is worth up to 49 million over the 4 years left. I'd be surprised if he can pay himself out. Could he not just terminate his contracts, like, so they don't have to pay him and he doesn't have to pay anything? I think that's what I meant along them lines. Like, couldn't they just terminate the contract in the extent where João Felix is like, you know, let's just end this here? I don't know if they do. Actually, no, they wouldn't do that because he's an asset to himself. He's an asset, isn't he, to the club, and they want to get money for him. Oh, it's tough. It's tough. Sancho needs to start, says Joshua. Top four will be back off if our signings, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, we'll be looking to get sixth. First performance shocking, and I can't see us doing much else. Everyone has an opinion, but I don't think we should react purely based off the first game of the season. So what's the consensus on Felix then? Let's get a poll running on it. Would you want João Felix at Manchester United on a free transfer? Let's have a little look at what you guys think. We'll get that poll running there in the chat. But while we get that poll running, I want to speak about something else. So it's coming out from Alfredo Padula that Man United have made contact with Bayern for Ryan Gravenberch in the past hours. He wants to leave and has 2 offers from the Premier League, including Liverpool. Gravenberch, however, prefers to work with Erik ten Hag again. You've seen this news last night. I know Faz spoke about it on the evening show, but we had more concrete news coming out about this from Alfredo Padula late last night. And on Gravenberch, the only way I could ever see this being feasible to do, because we won't even spend the money on Amrabat, is if somehow, you know, McTominay goes to West Ham after Man City buy Paqueta. And City will buy Paqueta. It's very, very, very scarce. And it's very, very, very... You know, you never see you never see Man City lose out on a player that they really want. If they want someone, they go and get them. It's very unlikely, that's the word I was looking for. It's very unlikely that City don't get the man that they're going for. So I think Paqueta will sign for Man City. West Ham will then have another big chunk of money. They could go in for McTominay, and if that happens, that's the only way I could see us signing Gravenberch. If not, I think it would have to be a loan Obviously, we do have a good relationship with Bayern Munich, so if he's not going to get used at Bayern, which he hasn't really been getting used, and it's not really worked out for him at Bayern Munich, has it? You could potentially see a loan on the cards because he wants to play football and he's a young player, he should be playing football. I actually really like him. I like the fact he's worked with Ten Hag because he's got that relationship there where he knows what he wants. He's a very good player. Sometimes it just doesn't work out, the destination you go to. He wants the Premier League experience. He wants to join Man United. I don't mind this move at all, but I don't see it happening unless it's a loan. We've been linked to Gravenberch quite a lot, and I just don't see it happening with everything that's coming out at the moment, especially with, you know, us not even being able to go for Amrabat right now for 29 million euros. So a loan is the only way, I think, because you don't have to actually pay a significant fee. You just have to pay the loan fee and the wages. And then the poll is in the chat. Make sure you have your vote on that. Would you take Felix on a free? I'm going to say yes. I think it's a no-brainer. Super chats in from Sticks. Anthony gets a pat on the back for kicking the ball with his right foot. I'm lost. If we eventually win the Premier League, he won't be here. Interesting take from Stick. And Drew P-Ball says Gravenberch all the way. Yeah, I think a lot of people like Gravenberch in the chat. He's a good player. He's only young as well. What I would say as well, it is interesting that everyone was buzzing that Anthony used his right foot, but he's literally a professional football player. Like, you would expect a football player to be able to use both feet, wouldn't you? Like, it's standard, isn't it, really? Gravenberch is the best option. I feel like we should go for a double loan to buy on Gravenberch and Pavard. United can't do that deal, I don't think. I don't think Bayern would agree to it either. Like, what are they getting out of it? Yeah, make sure you smash a like on the video, by the way. Over 7,500 in the room. Thank you very much for watching this morning. But that is the update on Gravenberch. Brought that to you now. Get your say on that. And the votes coming in for Felix. 87% say yes, 13% no. Keep them coming. I think it's a no-brainer. Interestingly enough, if you voted no, why have you voted no on taking him on a free? I'd be interested to know on that one. And then lastly, last but not least, to finish off the show, we have news regarding Eric Bailly. Obviously, yesterday we got the news through that he wanted that €700,000 payoff to leave Manchester United. His deal fell through with Saudi after they bought Laporte, and his deal was called off with Besiktas. So Eric Bailly is still at the club. But it's come out from Simon Jones at the Mail that that Fulham have inquired about signing Eric Bailly. Obviously, very early days. Nothing concrete, but they've inquired. They also inquired about signing Fred. That never went anywhere. Again, it's another one. I'll believe it when I see it, when it gets more concrete. But for now, I'm not getting my hopes up because we hear stuff like this all the time and it just never ends up happening. But that's what's coming out from the Mail Sport, that Fulham have inquired about Eric Bailly. So hopefully maybe we can get a move happen for him. Super chat just been deleted there, so must have been not a good one. Mikhail Hovard says, hi Beth, could you say happy birthday to Mikhail? Mikhail, happy birthday. I hope you have a good one, whatever you're doing. Yeah, hopefully you get the win against Spurs for your birthday. Felix would be perfect. And yeah, that's about it now on the show. I need to get all your chats in there. Again, I'm going to give my own little shout out because, you know, I can do. This is my own super chat. I want to say well done to my brother Hayden, he watches the show, he loves the show, he loves the United Stand. Well done to my brother Hayden, who got A star in his A-levels, biology, chemistry and maths. Proud sister moment. I wanted to shout him out because he did really, really well and I'm very proud of him. And well done to everybody else in their A-levels. Again, grades don't define you. It's all about hard work and passion and what you can do with your life, what you make of it. And that's what I would say to everyone out there. But well done if you're receiving your results and you're celebrating. Also, don't let it get you down too much if you've not got what you wanted. I wanted to say on that. I know a lot of people in the chat have obviously been at college and done your exams, so I wanted to say well done to everyone. Robert McCormack says, Beth, have you decided your captain on FPL this week yet? Yes, I have decided my captain. Does anybody want to know? Does anyone want to know what my captain is? Armadid Shanks 1,000 put a super chat in. Thank you very much. So yeah, thank you everyone in the chat for saying well done. I really appreciate it. I never say usually any personal stuff on here, but I wanted to give him a shout out. Stick says, yeah, Hayden, better than your sister. He did do better than me. That is correct. With A star, A, obviously you're going to be doing better than me. But I didn't do too bad, guys. I didn't do too bad. I ended up going to university and getting a degree. So, you know, just wanted to put it out there. But yeah, my captain on fantasy, if you want to know my captain, I'm not going with Boroff Erling Haaland because I want to be a bit different. And I went with Haaland first week, you know, keep it safe. I'm actually top of the United Stand league right now, as in the staff league. We've just like the presenters and the people behind the scenes in it. I'm actually top, joint top with Matthew, with Matt, who is our graphics guy, joint top. But taking a little risk this week, I'm going with Rashford captain against Spurs. All laugh at me. All have a good laugh at me, and I might end up losing my top spot. But you've got to take risks in life to win. You've got to take risks to get to the top. And nobody's going to be thinking about going with Rashford after the performance that was put in against Wolves. And I think with that Spurs high line, I'm backing it. So that's what I'm going with. Let me know what you guys are going with as well. Anything else in the chat? No, that's it. Just wanted to get that out there. Just me talking about FPL at the end of the show. Enjoy. And take care, everyone. Like I said, have a lovely day. I saw a few people asking for the FPL code to the big group. It is on Twitter somewhere. So I don't know off the top of my head, but it's on Twitter somewhere. Go and find it with the United Stand. Search United Stand Fantasy Premier League. You'll probably find it somewhere on Twitter. But thank you, everyone, for watching the show. Obviously, it's a frustrating one regarding Amrabat, but we spoke about it, we worked through it together, we talked it out, and yeah, just love this chat and love everything that we kind of talk about here with the respect that we have for each other to talk about these subjects. Thank you, everyone, for getting your chats in, all the super chats, everyone liking the video, staying involved, and actually just staying and watching the show. We appreciate you. Make sure you hit a like on the video if you want Amrabat to sign. If you want Amrabat to sign for Manchester United. Have a lovely rest of your day, everyone. We'll be here bringing you the latest updates, of course, throughout the day. But thank you, everyone. Have a lovely day. And yeah, bye, everyone.